So look, I could be all smug and say, I told you that the second Trump administration would be much more complicated and difficult than the first. They came into it already geared up to start making a lot of really horrendous changes. I could point out that it's only a few weeks ago that I said the Overton window was moving, in a way that we could literally see it moving. And now it's moving so fast I can barely see where the heck it is anymore. But we just don't have time to do all that stuff because we need to focus on specifically what is happening. One of the things that I find really frightening is that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in the US, is scraping off of its website all the information about care for LGBT people, all the information about reproductive rights, healthcare, contraception, abortion, all these kind of things, vital information that people need to be able to access and doctors need to be able to access. Really frightening stuff, It was so exciting a couple of decades ago when we started to see these incredible breakthroughs in how people could be treated for HIV and how we could prevent HIV from being spread and how people could take PrEP and things like this that would stop them from contracting HIV if they were in an at-risk community. Lots of my friends have taken PrEP. Lots of people I know take PrEP regularly, and now the information about how to safely do so is no longer on the US government website. That is the speed at which these things are moving. It's absolutely frightening, and I think there is a real need to stay on top of what's happening, which sadly the mainstream media just don't seem to have any interest in doing. I'm here in Australia, there have been neo-Nazis marching in the street. In the UK, Keir Starmer, our supposedly left-wing Prime Minister, has announced a crackdown on benefit claimants, as if we weren't already seeing thousands and thousands of people with disabilities being denied vital support and deaths across the board. As a result of that, we know there have been thousands of people who've died because their payments have been stopped, and many times after their death we then find out that they were unfairly stopped and that in fact they should have been given that support. And honestly, even if, what if someone was claiming a few quid that they didn't necessarily have the correct, things are so stingy anyway. There are people out there with billions, absolutely billions, sitting on it. And instead, we're trying to convince everyone to fight amongst themselves, to fight with migrants, to fight with LGBT people for basic healthcare provision. It is absolutely terrifying. And yeah, one thing we can do is at least try to keep on top of it so we know what's going on. And the mainstream media, they'll focus on whether or not Elon Musk did a Nazi salute, but they're not actually tracking all the orders that Donald Trump is signing day in, day out that are making life tangibly worse for people. It is now legal in the US to discriminate against people in a work situation on the basis of their gender, on the basis of their ethnicity, their religion, their sexuality. We're just absolutely steering our way back into the dim and distant past, into the Middle Ages. And when we saw that happen in Afghanistan, after we withdrew from Afghanistan and the Taliban took over, we were, horrified to see women no longer allowed to go to school, women no longer allowed to have jobs, women forced to cover up, women forced to stay home. And yet, we know full well that if we take away reproductive rights from women, which is exactly what is happening at breakneck speed in the US, women do get stuck at home. Women are suddenly forced into a cycle of pregnancy and childcare that effectively excludes them from the workplace. This is cataclysmic, and we have to be on top of it, not allowing the mainstream media to distract us, which, as far as I can tell, is all they do these days. So thank you for your ongoing support. If you are out here in Australia, I hope that I will see you over the next few weeks now that my shows have started properly. And wherever you are, I hope that you're surviving okay in this horrendous, very much end of days kind of environment. And we do all need to look out for each other. So drop me a line if I can be a part of that for you somehow. Take care.
Increasingly, the mainstream media is terrible at informing the public of what is really going on. I'm only able to make these videos because people are generous enough to sponsor me making them, and if you're able to be a part of that, I would hugely appreciate it. It can cost as little as $1 a month, and you'll get loads of fun bonus content and lots of extras from me and my undying gratitude. I also massively appreciate it if you're able to like, share these videos and let people out there know what's going on.